Welcome back to UVersus. Today we are covering Ready or Not, which is a movie that is created by Radio Silence, who are the same people that made Scream 5 and 6, which we have covered on this channel. There are also actors from previous things, such as Samara Weaving in Scream 6, or Dan Brody in Scream 4. Ready or Not is a surprisingly gory movie that is based around a game of hide and seek. But is this game of hide and seek survivable? Let's find out and get into the film. The movie opens with a kid named Daniel snitching on a person who's hiding from people. And when the people come, they shoot the guy in the stomach and drag him off to be unseen. And his wife is left screaming. Now, I thought snitches get stitches, but this guy is definitely going to need them instead. He could have easily survived this encounter by staying away from any of the family members, even the ones that he trusted. Our main character, Grace, is about to get married to a guy named Alex, but both him and his brother Daniel, who was the kid in the opening, give Grace an opening to leave. The couple get married anyway, much to the chagrin of most of the family members, except Daniel, who is actually funny.
Figure out if you're a gold digging whore. You know, like my wife.
And also Becky, who actually likes Grace, since she has been in the same situation before. The situation being marrying into a rich family. Aunt Helene almost interrupts the couple, and definitely should have knocked. But she tells them to come down for a certain ceremony. Alex explains that it is a family tradition to play a game with the family, and then you can be a part of the family after it's finished. When Grace comes down, we meet characters such as Tony, who is the dad of the very large family, where I actually struggled putting faces to names. Emily, who is the daughter of the family, and the excitable wife to a guy named Fitch. They have two kids named Georgie and Gabe, maybe? Tony explains that the games are a very old family tradition, started by someone named LaBelle and the family's great-granddad. Grace pulls the hide-and-seek game card, and everyone does a shit-their-pants face, especially Alex. The rules are that she has to stay quote-unquote hidden until dawn. Another rule being the family can't use the house security, which is definitely a rule that won't get broken later. The family prepares themselves with weapons. I don't think they know how hide and seek works. I wonder why they need weapons. And Grace hides in a dumbwaiter, but doesn't stay for long, since she rips her dress while trying to escape, and Alex grabs her into a room, keeping her quiet. A maid comes into the room searching for Georgie, and gets shot in the head by Emily, who seems very excited to say the least.
Over here! Over here! Over here! Guys, I found her!
I guess she could have survived this by staying away from a literal crackhead with a gun, or just staying away from any conflict in general. Alex explains that the family is hunting her because she pulled the hide and seek card, and if they don't catch her and kill her in time, something bad will happen to them. Grace rips her dress even more so she can walk, and it will get worse throughout the movie to show the events that she's been through, but also showing that she does whatever she wants for survival. Daniel finds her and knows that she needs to be captured, but also knows that she don't really deserve to be in this situation, so he gives her a head start. Daniel's wife, Charity, argues with him, since her life was changed for the good by the family, and if she was in the worst situation that she was, she would rather die. The family get scared and talk about tradition, and they decide that using the cameras ain't against the tradition, since they were made after the death of the great-granddad. But they have to use the weapon provided by the great-granddad. Grace sneaks past a butler named Stevens, who she boils the face off and really pisses him off. Alex unarms the security and nearly kills his dad, until Daniel convinces him not to, and then Tony knocks out his son. Aunt Helene reveals that she was the screaming wife at the start of the film, and a fact that Alex is the only one to see the ghost of LaBelle in the king chair. Grace escapes outside into a barn since someone follows her with a searchlight and reveals himself to be Georgie. Grace nearly makes the same mistake as the guy from the opening by trusting the kid, and she gets shot in the hand. But instead of laying there and letting the family take her like the stupid guy did, she punches a child to the floor, which is probably the only time I should enjoy a child getting hit. She's knocked back into a pit where other bodies are dumped, and while escaping, she puts her hand through a rusty nail, which is just so amazingly disgusting. Grace makes her way through a fence, ripping more of her dress and cutting herself, but the car honks at her and calls her names while driving off, forcing her to run in the forest. Grace is forced to fight off Stevens and chokes him out before stealing his car. Tony reveals that LaBelle is going to kill them all if Grace isn't dead by dawn, and he puts jobs on everyone, but they're not really important anyway. Daniel and Emily are forced to dump the maid's body in the goat pit while talking.
The last time they played hide and seek, weren't you? What were you, 6, 7?
Why them numbers? It could have been any number. Why are them numbers everywhere? Grace is captured by Stevens because the electric car she stole is shut down when she calls 911 and it was reported being stolen. She could have escaped by trying to avoid anyone that can shut her car down, even if she felt the need to report the family for their crimes. Or she could have fought back against Stevens and done that while staying away from his hand. But the capture doesn't last long anyway, when she boots him in the face, causing him to crash, and hopefully dies this time. Daniel finds Grace and holds her at gunpoint, where she pleads for him to let her go. But he is scared what is possibly going to happen to his family, and he knocks her out. We also realise this is because Tony was watching him. Alex, who has had some scenes after he got knocked out, but they're not important enough to mention, has a heart-to-heart with Becky, who I think I've only mentioned once. They talk about the ethics of the situation they're in, since Grace is an amazing person, but if she doesn't die, their whole family does. If you haven't realised, I'll basically say the deal now. LaBelle is a devil who offered riches to the great-granddad, but if he don't do this ritual every marriage, he cannot keep the riches. Grace is about to be sacrificed when Daniel poisons everyone. Not too badly, just like a little poison snack. But then Charity holds her at gunpoint. And when Daniel tries reasoning with his wife, she shoots him in the neck and lets him bleed out, which Alex witnesses, believing his wife done it. Since Daniel is basically a good guy, he could have survived this by recognising the situation that he's in and remembering how desperate Charity was, not the brand, the actual woman's name. And he could have avoided this situation in general. Becky lunges at Grace and knocks over a lamp which burns a part of her house down. And Grace retaliates by killing her with a trophy. Alex and Grace reunite, but unfortunately he isn't in the correct state of mind, so he grabs her and calls for his family. But by the time she is literally banshee screaming, the light of dawn breaks through a window, meaning she has survived. There is a moment's pause where the curse isn't believed to be real. But as Aunt Helene is about to still kill Grace, she explodes, as well as everyone else in the family, including the children, which is just so crazy. Alex has a moment's pause where he begs for Grace's forgiveness, but she chucks the ring back at him and watches him explode on her. Please don't take that out of context. She walks out the building that is covered in flames and makes one final joke before the film ends.
Jesus Christ, what happened to you?
In-laws.
Now that the movie is over, I will rank the survivability of this movie and how much I liked it in a tier list. I believe that the average person can survive Ready or Not, since the villain is only a group of humans with weapons, and we're probably going to see worse in the future. I believe that Ready or Not belongs in the B tier, since it does just feel like a middle of the road movie for me. Probably above Scream 4, but below Anaconda. I enjoyed Ready or Not, but one issue I had was I think there was way too many characters, since I found it hard to put the important characters in the script and make you remember them. But there's still some characters that weren't even a part of this script that were in the movie. But I still think you should watch this movie, and Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, when it comes out. This has been You Versus, and I'll see you next time.